David J. Coleman, and welcome to Chapter 7 of Coleman On Purpose, which I am releasing on the 7th month of the 7th day of 2022. And what could be more fitting, because this is an episode that I have looked forward to releasing to everyone, because it has so much to do with my dreams and goals and everything that I have aspired to be for a large portion of my life. So this really lets you into a lot of that kind of picture. I was just sitting with a friend the other day, and if you really and truly know me and know who I am, you know that if you start striking up a conversation about anything that has to do with the industry or entertainment, we're going to have a good long conversation. So we started that conversation and we're talking for like an hour straight about just entertainment and our thoughts on music and where the industry is at. And it just brightened my entire day. Like, it just made the day so much better. It's something I've always enjoyed to do. So I know it's where I am, and I know it's where I fit. I know it's where I'm supposed to be. And there's probably a lot more to it, but I'll explain a little bit more to you in this episode or chapter of Coleman On Purpose. This one is called Industry Baby or Nah. Enjoy. All right, it is my truth time, and I have covered everything from church to love to my job, and now this time I want to kind of get into more of my dreams, some of like my dreams and aspirations, or different things that I kind of set up in my mind for myself as I was growing up. I sometimes wonder why the entertainment industry is so attractive to me. Like, I can sit for hours and hours and hours and watch YouTube videos or watch different clips on certain musicians or actors, or I can sit and watch a series of shows that I really enjoy. Some could be funny, some could be dramatic, or I can go to the movie theater and be totally entrenched without even wanting to get up and use the bathroom to go and do anything. I can just sit and watch a movie and not want to move a muscle. It is this safety that I feel about the most crazy industry in the world. Like, literally. I've learned over and over how insane this industry that I love so much is, and I've gotten to watch it. I've gotten to see things unfold. We got to see the craziest parts of people's lives unfold, whether you're an actor, whether you're a singer or a rapper or whatever you do, a dancer. It can be anything, but we get to see under a microscope every single portion of your life, because you're giving your life to the world, basically, when you become an entertainer or you become someone famous. So I always knew I wanted to be involved with entertaining people from a very young age. I used to sing. I like to act. I've been in plays when I was in college. I was also in show choir, or what we call Broadway exit, back in the day when I was in high school. I played in the band. I played an instrument. There was nothing like rehearsing and performing and getting the audience's reaction after you finish something. I can remember sometimes sitting up while I was in band. I used to play the trombone, and I can remember we would finish a piece, and while we're playing the piece, there'd be these minor chords or something that would play where chills would run through my body, because you could actually feel the music. You could feel every portion of it. So you'd be sitting there, and all of a sudden at the end of the piece, there's this total silence that fills the entire room. And it's basically the silence before an applause. Everyone is moved or touched or feeling like that was really, really, really great, or that music filled the room so much it just sent this emotion through people. And I always loved that. That's what I loved about performing. When you get up and you pour your heart out on the stage, singing or dancing or doing something, and then all of a sudden you would have these moments when you're either performing or when something would grip the audience to where there would be this either silence or there'll be oh wow, or you would hear something like a laugh or something like that, and you'd really enjoy that. And it brings this either happiness or this emotion out of someone that you really can't get anywhere else. Yes, you can get it from speaking sometimes or saying things, but it was all about touching the hearts of those that were in there. So I remember when I was in kindergarten and I was chosen basically to read the Bible. Now, I wanted to sing. There was this other guy that was in kindergarten with me that, he was basically the grandchild or whatever of the principal that was there. So he was in charge of basically who got to do what. So this other guy, he had my same name. Let me just throw that out there. And we were always, competing, it seems like, almost, when I was back then. And I can't believe I remember this story, but he wanted to sing and I wanted to sing. And they were choosing who was going to get to do what. And so he ended up getting to sing, which I really wanted to do, or lead the song. He got to lead the song. And I had to read the Bible. Now, little did I know, reading the Bible was even better than leading the song, because you were leading with a whole bunch of people. Yes, you were the leader, but reading the Bible was the main thing. So I was chosen to do that because I was such a good reader back then. And I remember this because I still have it on like VHS of me in kindergarten, like reading from the Bible. I think I've even posted it before, but I was reading it, and I can remember the silence that filled that room as I was reading it, and after it was finished, everybody was like, oh wow, oh my goodness. As a kindergartner, that was big because I could actually just read some of the big words, and everybody was really impressed with that. And that really, it does something, I guess, to a little bit of that ego in you. And I think that's something that I fought for a very long time, is that ego rising up in me, or that wanting to have that acceptance, or people to be like, oh wow, he's really good at this or really good at that. It was something about that building up of you that made me feel good in those moments when I was younger. And I loved that. And so after I was done reading and everything like that, everybody was, impressed and clapped and everything like that. And then I kind of knew that I liked that mic. I like to be in front of that mic. I like to speak. I like to be an orator, as people would say, and I like to talk. And I like to talk with a little bit of energy or having enthusiasm for something. So I think that acting was like that perfect place for me, because I knew how to write. I knew how to do a lot of different things. So I loved plays growing up. So I used to check out musicals from the library and listen to the soundtrack. So it was either a musical or a movie. I remember waiting till the soundtrack, because the soundtrack used to come out like a movie soundtrack, or I don't know, the theater ones came out afterwards, but the movie soundtracks actually came out first. The movie soundtracks came out first before the movie even came out, so you had a chance to listen to all the songs. So I would always go and run and be the first person making sure that when that album came out that would say it was coming soon to the library, I was there getting it and picking it up and listening to it and engulf it, like just listening to these soundtracks over and over. And I used to perform those and just do it in my room. And this is what I could do day after day, in and out. When I was working on homework, I was working on homework. If I wasn't working on homework, I might go outside, but usually I was involved with sitting down and putting my tape recorder out and recording. So I used to watch endless television and movies, hoping to one day be a part of maybe a long-running family television sitcom like Family Matters or Full House or The Cosby Show or My Wife and Kids later on. And I just wanted to be a part of something like that family that you would feel, that would bring that feel out during the thing. Even though I had a great family, a praying family, a Christian family, but we were always involved in church. So television was my way of escape from always being at church. It was like you still got the moral of the story with these family sitcoms, so it was still staying in that, Christian element of like what my heart was, but it was giving me a little outlet. So there was always that bad side to something that someone was doing through those like TV sitcoms. That's why I always loved it. It was a good and a bad thing, and you would learn your lesson from watching these shows. So I loved that. So I used to spend time recording, like I said, on this tape recorder. I used to record these full drama shows, and of course, at that time, I was Christian. And that's all that I knew. So I was recording Christian shows. So there'd be a meaning behind it. I remember a show called Praises. That was a show that came out, or Praise Lamb. There was a show Praise Lamb and Praises and Golden Gate. And that's all from like Full House, the Golden Gate Bridge that was on Full House. Praises was just like Praise Lamb was like lamb chop, but the Christian version. So it's like I mixed things together in order to make these ideas. I was always creating or being creative. So I still have some of these tapes to this day, which I will not bore you guys with, but I still have some of those cassette tapes of these long 30-minute dramas with commercial breaks in there and everything, of me just giving you this drama of what I knew from being in church and just what I knew as a child. And I did that all the way up till like about 15 or 16. Like seriously, I was doing this stuff. I think it kind of died down a little bit, but I was still doing it while I was in high school, and I would record these albums, like these full 60-minute albums with me dubbing my voice over and all these different things I used to do in order to entertain myself, because I so longed to be in the industry. So as I got older, I wrote a few plays, and my plays were very amateur. We performed them in the children's church, at the church, and these were some of my most happy moments, I have to say, because I can remember even the stress of high school and fitting in and everything like that. When I came to these rehearsals with these children that were so fresh and that wanted to act and different things like that, it was like an outlet. I was able to direct, and I felt like I was a part. Like I was finally able to take a little bit of control over all of the negative that I felt sometimes when I would go the pressures of high school. And so it was that in between, like I talked about pretty much in my first episode. It was like I had to be these two different people at church and at school, but when I came to church, it was like I could be in church, but I was still giving off some of that school energy. I was able to be myself, and I loved that so much. So after graduating high school, and like I had a basically delayed college entrance, as you know from my second episode where I was talking about my brain injury, I wanted to be involved with the arts. So I acted in a couple musicals in college. I remember being in Once on This Island, and I was also in another musical at my senior year. I was in one my first year and my senior year. It was called Bat Boy, the musical. And there was a particular play that I was going to be in my junior or sophomore year. I think it was my sophomore year. And this play, I forgot what it was called, but it was a play that had a lot of cursing in it. Like they cussed all the way, like my character was going to have to cuss. And I was very involved in the church at that time. But my convictions at that time, because I was so heavily involved in church, would not allow me, even though I got the part for this acting role, and I couldn't do it because in my heart, like I felt convicted. I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I can't do this. I couldn't see my pastor coming to see this, or my parents coming to see this with me cussing up a storm. They'd be so disappointed. There it goes again, what I talked about in the episode, where I'm worried about what everybody else is going to think about that. Yes, I had convictions, but not that I regretted the decision that I made, but I wish that I had more of my own mind at that time for the reasons why I did it, not just because I didn't want my parents to see it or something else like that. That shouldn't have been the fear of it. It should have just been an honest thing where I'm like, I just don't want to do that because that's not who I am. But I didn't at the time. It was just because of who else. So that wasn't the right reason. So in my mind, I kind of beat myself up over that. And the director was so mad that they did not cast me in another thing or another play for, like, what you call it, blackball. And I'm blackballed out of college productions because I dropped out of the role that was assigned or was given to me. Nobody trusted me, but eventually they got rid of that lady and there was a new person that came in my senior year, and I was able to get a role in the Bat Boy musical, thank God, because I really loved to act. So there was a couple of years where I did not do that in college, and I'm glad that I got that final outlet my last year or senior year. But this is how this industry thing that has been bothering me for so long, not bothering me, but just kind of like, do I want to do it? Do I not want to do it? My love for having that wanting to be in the industry, wanting to do things that are very involved with the industry. it was really something else. So that spark left for a while because I got married, and then I started to crave it again. And I enrolled in a convention called the Shine Convention. And that was a convention, basically a Christian, it was basically faith-based. And you got to go and you had to enroll, you had to pay money, which I had to get together and everything like that. You got to go to Atlanta to take some classes, and then you go to a huge showcase in Orlando, Florida at the Gaylord, where you get to present before a lot of people that are in the industry. So these are people that are casting directors and different things like that you go get to perform in front of. So I was very, very excited about this brand new thing that I was going to be doing through Shine. And I was really getting ready for, or preparing myself to be more industry involved. So I ended up going to this convention. I got, you have to audition and everything like that. I remember my mom coming down and my parents were here, and they got to see me audition and do my little monologue and sing my song that I sang. And they were just so impressed because I turned on this other thing. I have this inner thing that's in me that loves to act and loves to, make people smile or amaze people. It's just something about that it really brings me joy. And so that is what I love about the industry. So as I went to, this convention, I had very high hopes, and some people were better. I was not probably the best. I was good, but there's so much more talent out there that it can discourage you. And I probably only got like one call back. I ended up coming back and joining a small little agency down here where I did little side work and was able to pick up a couple commercials and do different things, but it wasn't on the level that I always thought I was going to be. So coming back from there, it took me years to actually realize that everyone in the industry was not directly in the spotlight. And I had to think about that for a little bit, because even as much as I long to I really like to be in the front of the scene, or I just like to have my face there sometimes, but God began to show me some things about just people that play a little bit in the back. Not to say that you can't go for those big roles or be in the front of everything like that, but there's importance also in the small things also. And I started to kind of take things into my own hands. I started to do things on my own. I started to make these little skits by myself. I started to sing on my own. I started to go to try to cast myself on my own. I just started to do things on my own because I wanted to try and push myself forward, because I feel like I have a reason to speak or to be a part of something that the industry needs. I feel like there is something that I need to express from myself that only I can do. Just as many people say within the acting, there's only so many actors that can do certain things. Only certain ones can do certain things. So everybody is called to something different. I still don't want to give up on my dream in this field, and I def won't, even though, right now life is lifing, and I just want to surround myself with people who have the same heart for entertainment as me, because a lot of people can't understand it. They don't get the reason why I am so attached to wanting to be in the industry. They don't get the reasons why it's such an important piece of my life. It's such an important piece of who I am, and only like-minded people get that. That's why sometimes when I go to LA or something like that, I feel so in the moment, because there's so many people that are striving for that same thing. Of course, it's really cutthroat out there. Or I wanted to go to NY to be on Broadway. I don't know, my time might have passed for all of that, because Broadway is very demanding, and maybe there's a play out there, but musicals, they got to dance and do a lot of stuff that requires a lot of you. But there is still this heart that I have for maybe even writing something else or doing something, but it's very hard to find here, maybe where I'm from, where I'm in North Carolina right now, still working. I have to give my time to my job, so I can't give as much time to stuff like this, what I'm doing right now, which just brings me joy. But I would also like to get back into some of the things that I have always loved to do. The interesting thing is that many times in this industry, we're so involved in the look, to make ourselves seem more grandiose than what we actually are. What the truth is, I've seen that many times in the industry, that we lose sight of what we're supposed to be bringing to the table, what we're supposed to be placing in front of people, our image, our style, our uniqueness. We've lost that. Let me tell you that right now. We've lost the uniqueness in the industry. I'll tell you that right now. That's why we have so many copycats or cloners walking around right now. And I always say this, and I've always loved artists that are in the industry that stand out by themselves. Let me give you an example. Missy Elliott always marched to the beat of her own drum. She has always been an individual, never conformed, never tried to be whatever someone else is saying. I was reading something on Instagram where she was basically saying that her and Timbaland never really watched other videos or watched anything, so that they did not, so it didn't taint that mind of theirs. So I think that could be an also problem with what I've taken in. You know, I'm talking about as far as music, as far as TV, and so much saturation, and it gets into that comparative stage where you start comparing yourself with everybody else, and then you lose sight of what your original vision was. And that's what was so hard for me to even come out with this podcast, because I was like, there are so many other podcasts out here in the world right now. Everybody is doing their thing. Everybody could be more entertaining, and I didn't even know if I wanted to put this stuff out. I am actually recording this episode maybe or chapter like 4 months after I recorded the last one, because I went through a season where I was just like, do I even really want to do this? But I decided around April I was going to do it and put it out, because it's needed somewhere. I don't know where, but it's needed somewhere. And that's the mindset I want to bring into, if I ever do go further into the industry or have more things to do. A lot of people, I guess, have tried to shield me from that. Shield me from the industry, shield me because my heart is so, I guess pure, or just this is what, or they feel like I'll get tainted by the industry. They've tried to shield me away from it. But if I am protected by God and I'm walking through the things that He wants me to do, He is going to keep me safe. And I know He's protecting me for such a time, but I know that eventually it is going to be something that I couldn't have even imagined. I just know that. I know that in my heart that I have that to give to this world and to this industry. And this competitiveness really does have to stop in the industry. I just want to say that right now. We got to stop the buzz and just people latching on to whatever is hot at the time, because I used to wait to put out my videos at a certain time. My timing was always, something else is going on right now. There's bad news right now. I want to get likes, so I'm not going to post that. Or, oh my gosh, somebody just came out with something that's similar to that, so I'm not going to put it out. Or something. And I would have all these doubts about what I was going to do because I wasn't moving in my own time. We have to learn to move in our own time. We should not be moved by the world's time. I think that's what they've tried to accustom us to. The world has been like, okay, you have to move on this time because this is going on right now. You must be sensitive to this, or you need to not do this because no. Comedians don't do that. Other people don't. Like, certain people are allowed to get away with stuff. Why can't we move on our own time as people? And as either entertainers or people that are in the industry? We don't need to be on this fixed set of things that we've had. So I guess I'm just trying to get to the point of saying I am not too good for help, or not too good to say, let's work together on making magic so we can both do what we love. I'm not too good to stay away from that. I just want to make sure that when I'm doing it, that we are not doing it just like even this podcast, not just for the likes or just to have a whole bunch of people talk to us. And it's very hard to break out of that because we are humans and we have that feeling of wanting that. But that's something that I guess every entertainer has to break off of themselves little by little by little. It's, even though we get these awards, we get these accolades, we get these cheers, it's something that it's a daily walk, and it's something that you have to break off of yourself. And maybe that's the reason why I haven't reached that part, because when I get into the industry, I'm going to have that kind of a better mindset so I don't get lost in all of that. So I just believe that there's timing for everything, and I know that when it's time, and that's why I did this podcast, because it was time to do this. And I know many people walk this journey alone so long that they walk in the journey so long that by the time you get to the real purpose of your calling, that it's in the latter part of your life. And I saw that example just recently with an interview with Denzel Washington that he did. And he was just talking about that he wants to retire very soon and just the different things that he's learned along the way. And you don't really learn that until later when you go through something that really shakes you to your core. We watched that with Will Smith. We saw him at his highs, and we've now seen him at his lowest. And I will say that there is nothing wrong with finding that purpose at the end, because this is a journey. This is something that we're supposed to walk on. And I do think the sooner we learn it, the better. But who knows that you're supposed to learn it at this junction in your life? Maybe it is supposed to be at a later time because you have a specific thing to give to that space and in that time. And I'm learning that as I go. And if you have a passion for something, I just want to encourage you to run towards it. Someone is waiting for what you have in this world. I want to say that one more time. If you have a passion, I encourage you to run towards that passion. Continue running fervently. Somebody in this world is waiting for what you have. The world is so big. Never limit yourself to what you can or cannot do. And that's my truth. And that was chapter 7 of my truth. And man, I was a little bit passionate at the end of that because it just means so much to me when, people find that passion and they run towards it, or just know that is where they belong, or that is what they are supposed to be doing. That is such an encouragement. I was just thinking about this the other day. I remember Beyonce coming out with her, announcing this Renaissance album. And I was so excited about Renaissance getting ready to come out. I woke up that morning just like, oh God, I got to order this box. Oh God, I got to get it. I was really excited because she's been an exciting and very inspiring person to me because of her work ethic and how hard she works, and how she tries to change the narrative of things. And I've watched her do it time after time with release, era after era, just changing the mold of how the music industry is. And that's what I love when an artist or a musician can do that. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, well, now I've seen a lot of people kind of shy away from maybe doing things or releasing music, or everybody in the industry kind of backs away because, oh, Beyonce is out with something new, so yeah, I just need to put my stuff to the side. That is probably the furthest from what Beyonce or probably anyone wants you to do. Yes, she knows she's bad. Yes, she knows she's good. But I believe that she believes in art so much that if you really believe in yourself and have the confidence and know that whatever you put out is what the world needs, then you should have no problem with whether Beyonce comes out or not, or releases anything. There's not no pause on art or how that comes out. I'm sure that is not what she meant for this to be. She's trying to show you that regardless of whatever she does, she wants everybody else to be inspired to just drop whatever you're going to drop when you're going to drop it. Don't let this industry control what you are. And that's what I've been trying to explain to people. And I came up with this term now, and my friend, he cracks up because I say it all the time now. I call it deep industry. And deep industry is something that, I used to be, I wanted to get real deep in there and be part of the whole society, the clique, everything that's part of that. But when I started to think about it, I was like, but how can you impact if you're so controlled? How can you be that impactful person and really be true to yourself if you have to be so controlled in what you say, what you do, where you are? So as I start to think about that, even with me continuing in talking about entertainment things or doing these videos or doing different things that I do, there's still a balance to it to where I'm like, maybe I don't want to be that deep in the industry to where I have to control or manipulate what I say every time when I talk. And I think that's the most important thing that we should realize as artists, as humans, or as passionate people about whatever you're passionate about in this world. We have to realize that only we have what the world needs. And once you realize that, or really come into the full realization, it's a journey in finding it. But once you come into that realization, don't nothing matter. You're going to knock down any door you need to, because you got something to say. And that's kind of where I'm at in my journey, regardless who's riding with me, who's not, who's coming along with me, who's not. I'm going for it, and I'm going to be here doing this for the rest of my life, period. Point blank. That's it. So yeah, I was going to mention some other stuff right now, but I'm just going to stop it right there, because I think I've said what I needed to say. Maybe I'll talk about, what I wanted to talk about another time. So I really do hope you come back for we are on chapter 8. It's going down. I can't wait for you to come back and visit me on the next chapter. If you haven't listened to some of the old chapters, I know I'm trying to stay away from watching views or whatever and keeping up with analytics and stuff like that. I just want you to watch, to listen whenever you feel like your spirit or your soul wants to hear some good stories, some good messages, some good life lessons throughout my podcast. Come on and join me. Follow me on Instagram, Deluxe Dave, DeluxeDave. I am also on YouTube at King David 24, or put in Deluxe Dave and I should pop right up on there. And like I said, go ahead, listen. I'm on all streaming platforms right now, from Stitcher to Amazon Music to Google Podcasts. I'm there. So make sure you're downloading it, listening. I would truly appreciate that if you did. Or tell a friend or somebody who might want to listen to this also, that may be in the industry and wants to know a little bit more about what I feel like it entails, and whoever's trying to do that. Let them listen to this chapter also. The next chapter is called Get You a Best Friend. I'm going to be talking about my life and how I've kind of gone through phases with friendships, and how important it is to maintain friendships with people. It's a very touching episode for me, and I'll explain why next time on Coleman On Purpose. Till next time, be safe out there, and you are unique, you are loved, and you are created for greatness. Have a wonderful, wonderful July.